Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Right now I'm on page 109, and the article I'm going to start is the role and the social position of grandparents in the family, including cross-cultural comparison and the impact of changing life expectancy upon the family. So this is basically the topic which we need to understand two things before I start the topic, which is in my previous lecture I told you about what is the childhood. It was a biological or social construction. So the first phase in my previous lecture is all about the childhood, why it is important to understand the certain features which are involved in child rearing. But today's lecture, it's all about what is the significance, what is the importance of the grand family. One thing, which factors are involved in aging population. What is aging population? So there are certain things which we need to tell you, and it is important to understand for you guys. So let's begin. Life expectancy, the average number of years that a person will live in many countries has increased considerably, and it is now more likely than in the past that several generations of the same family will be alive at the same time. At the same time as life expectancy has increased, the birth rate, the number of children born per thousand people in the population has fallen. In many modern industrial society, this has led to an aging population. This means that there are more older people, both in number and as a proportion of the population. In many industrial societies, one consequences of these processes is an increased independency ratio. They are more retired, economically inactive, older people relying on the economical, active, tax-paying adults. So older people may also rely on their adult children for support. The burden of caring for both her new aging parents and those of her husband often falls on the woman, where adults are looking after both their dependent children and their parents. They are referred to as the pivot generation or sandwich generation. So there are so many definitions which are involved, which we need to tell you. So first of all, there are certain things. The very first thing is that we need to understand that, especially in the modern societies, developed societies, there are medical care has entirely changed. Best medical facilities are there in Scandinavian country, in European countries. So one can say that the most of the population is called aging population. What is aging population? Aging population is a population which is considered to pass the average life. For instance, in Pakistan, one can say that the average life is 56 years. So the population which exceed 56 are called aging population. So the people who are living more than expected ratio is called aging population. One thing is that. Then there are certain things which are involved with aging population. Obviously, the aging population, if the aging population of a country is increased, one can say that the birth rate will be decreased. One thing. Second thing is that it is a tremendous burden. It's a social problem on the developed countries because government has to pay a lot of taxes, pension, a stipend, so many kind of financial aid, medical facilities, tax relief. There are so many things which governments are doing for the betterment of the aging population. So aging population is a burden, socially burden on the governments. One thing, aging population means the population which is more than average population too. Thirdly, it's a burden on their family as well because they are socially inactive. So once they are socially inactive, obviously, there are more for them to be done, not only by the government, but by the adults they are living with. So again, we got a definition which is pivot generation or the sandwich generation. The generation of the people usually in the middle age who care for their dependent children and their aging parents at the same time. So know that as the term mentioned, it's very interesting to say that it's all about the sandwich generation. Who is sandwich generation? Why? Because they are working in the middle. So sandwich generation is a kind of generation who is responsible for the betterment of their generation and their parents. So because they are like sandwiches, because they are the one who are bearing pressure for the both generations, right? This is called pivot generation or sandwich generation. Today, due to improved health in later life and the higher life expectancy, many grandparents act as a a valuable source of support for their adult children, particularly in relation to childcare. Research in the UK has found that around 30% of the UK families depend on grandparents for childcare. This figure increased to nearly 50% in lone parents family. Uh, Smallwood and Wilson 2017 argued that this has led to modification in many family structures. Although there are few classic extended families, modified extended families that include grandparents have become more important. Grandparents now provide childcare for many families as work pressure leave mothers with less time for childcare. Reasons for this include more women working, parents working long and unsociable hours, the high cost of childcare, longer active life expectancy. The contribution of the grandparents is not restricted to childcare. Grandparents also now often provide financial support for their grandchildren, and their relationship with their grandchildren are important for stability and emotional support. These relationships are not, however, one way. Longer life expectancy in industrial society result in more children returning to the family home as adults to provide financial and domestic care for their parents. This is the part of the way in which families' role and responsibilities are increasingly open to negotiation in post-industrial society. The negotiation can involve grandparents resisting any belief by their adult children that can be taken for granted as children minders whenever required. Like childhood and adulthood, old age is also socially constructed. Different societies interpret the start, meaning, significance, and the status of the old age in different ways. The difference can be found in all the areas. So according to this, one need to understand that now, according to sociologists, one can say that the old age is again called a social construction. You know why? Because there are so many factors which are involved in the aging population. So there are a couple of things we need to understand according to these paragraphs. I mean, in European countries, especially we talk about the UK, we can say that 35% grand family are involved in childcare. One thing. Second thing is that if we talk about the lone parent, this ratio increased to 50%. It means 35% families are responsible. I mean, the grand family is responsible for the childcare. You know why they are engaged in it? They are engaged in it because their mothers. I mean, one can say that the mothers of the children, they are socially very active. One thing, they are more concerned about their career. Thirdly, the cost of living is very expensive. The cost of childcare is very high. The rates are very high. So just to meet all their financial means, just to meet their all financial requirements, one can say that grand family is always very supportive towards the childcare. So what it is important to understand, first thing, it's all about the childcare. Second thing is that when we talk about the lone parent structure, family structures, one can say that 50% of the grand family is involved not only in childcare, but at the same time they are involved in financial support as well. Sometimes it's possible that the family are not able to get a good job. Both the parents are unable to get a good job, so they are simply dependent on the pension, on the stipend, or on the social benefits which are given by the government to the aging population, and then they can simply transfer all those facilities for the betterment of their family, especially for the child care. So this is one of the things we need to understand while taking aging population as a level which is socially constructed. So cross culture comparison, it is important. The article, and we are supposed to understand how the different cultures, different societies are playing different roles. They are giving different facilities to the grand family, and how grand family is acting for the betterment of their grandchildren. Cross culture comparison to the status of the older people show differences between the society. The most obvious example of this can be seen in a comparison between traditional and the modern society. There are, however, also comparative differences within these categories. Modern societies such as the UK and the USA demonstrate difference in the relationship between the older people and other age groups. In some traditional societies, older people gain increased family status as Patriarchs are the matriarchs, valued for their knowledge and experience. However, in Western industrial society, old age is often seen as a diminished identity characterized by a loss of status. Older people are seen as less useful and powerful than young and middle-aged adults. Part of the reason for this is the stigma attached to old age. Some people see aging as an inevitable process of decline, helplessness, withdrawal, and the loneliness. Culture, attitude to life after death, the, the afterlife also play a part here. In some society, old age is valued because older people are seen as a closer to death and spiritual afterlife. The older a person gets, a greater the respect given to them. Among the Sorbru of the Sierra Leone, a person's status increases if they become harder to understand. They are believed to be communicating directly with their ancestors. In other societies, the sign of old age are welcomed because they represent the fact that the very old will soon begin their real life. After that, in such cultures where life is seen as a preparation for the next world, the status of the people increase as they grow older. So, according to cross cultural comparisons, there are things we need to repeat and try to tell you the significance. I mean, first of all, we got two distinctive features: traditional uh, ideology about the grand family and the modernist approach towards the aging population are the grand family. So first of all, we need to understand what is the traditional point of view. According to traditional point of view, one can say that in traditionalist society, more respect are given to the old people or the aging population because they are considered to be the patriarch. They are considered to be matriarch. You know why? Because they are given such dominance, they are given such preferences, in every field of life. For instance, if you people are supposed to have a decision, a very crucial decision, so according to traditionalist approach, one can say that it's the responsibility, or it is taking as a regard that you are supposed to take advice, take recommendation from older people because they are more experienced, they have more experience under their belts, and they really know how to work or they handle a critical situation. So this is we have in the traditional society. But when we talk about the modernist approach, one can say that especially the UK and the USA, one can simply say this is a kind of thing which are involved. We need to understand there are certain features which are involved in the modernist society. So when we talk about the modernist society, one can say that it again, it has simple aspect, they have different perspectives. One can say that, for instance, if we talk about the society like the UK, the USA, things are entirely different. When we talk about the grand family, when we talk about for instance, their example which is given to the Sierra Leone. I mean, when we talk about the Sierra Leone, there are certain things which are involved. There are certain things which are considered to be important, which are relating to the old age people. So once it is a very, you can say, very true belief. It's all about the belief that one can say that when a person, an old person, is getting older and he's close to death, there are certain features which are involved with older people. So first of all, a person who is considered to be older, he is more closer to his creator or her creator. One can say that. Those are the very first thing you are supposed to stop it. I mean, don't watch mobile phone, right? So the first thing which are involved with the older people, so we need to understand the very first thing is that. So according to certain tradition, according to certain societies, one can say that the older people are closer to death. So once they are closer to death, we they are given more respect. Their opinion is considered to be more respected. You know why? Because they are considered to be very experienced. One thing is that, I mean, they are the people who are supposed to prepare for the next world. So once we simply consider the older people, one can say that for sure, in certain societies, they are considered to be those who are ready to travel in the next phase. So once they are going to travel in the next phase, we are supposed to give them more respect because their stay in this world is far more lesser. This is one of the things which is considered. Second thing is that according to certain belief and the traditions, one can say that the people who are supposed to pass away, one can say that they are considered to be more, you can say, more righteous people, because they spend so much time with other people. So it is the chance, one can say that this is the kind of thing, the specific period or a time when we are given them respect, a lot of respect. Because after giving a lot of respect, we, I mean, in certain societies they simply consider it's a part of the worship, that you are giving, giving preferences, they are, you are treating them in a nicer way, because they are considered to be close enough to end their life. The very last thing, in the modern industrial society, the status and the social position of the older people is different. Although social position in modern society is not simply a function of age, but is complicated by the concept of class and gender. One view is that modern industrial society have experienced changes that have led to greater age against people and a reduction in the status of the people. These changes include new technology, which older people are seen as untrained or unprepared. So it can be argued that age boundaries have become less distinct in recent times. These changes suggest above have not affected all the older people in the same way. So the last thing I need to mention is that according to certain sociologists, one can say that the older people have respect according to certain things. They are given more values in certain things, but still in many societies it is considered to be wasteless, because they are the one who are not ready to work with you guys in the modern societies. They are not the one who can simply play their part in reference to the latest technology. So this is what we have for today's lecture. Take great care of yourself, and may Allah, sorry for that, because I'm not able to listen to all prayer in a regular way. Assalamu alaikum.